Cats. Let's talk about football, partially a sobering reality here for the Cats, and then also at the same time, something exciting, I think, for UK, because despite a really just crummy season, just an awful season for Mark Stoops and company, they're doing some things in the portal that will go ahead and just, I'll say it, are getting me excited a little bit for next year. So in case you didn't see it, Kentucky lost a lot of pieces to the transfer portal. Berrien Brown committed to LSU. You've got Dane Key in the transfer portal as well. And there's been a rumor online buzzing about how Dane Key could potentially return to Lexington, and he could return to Kentucky instead of going to transfer to, I believe he's already taken visits to Ole Miss and Georgia. We'll see where Key potentially ends up, but KSR's Ryan Lemond, who does the radio show alongside Matt Jones and Drew Franklin, he is actually Dane's godfather, and he's a really close friend of Key's family, and you can go read more about this actually on WildcatBlueNation.com. They put out something about this really specific earlier, and this is something that I believe Lemon said on KSR's show earlier today. He was asked about whether or not Key would potentially come back, and he immediately said about the internet speculation, direct quote, "That's not even on the table." So shut that down for anybody out there that may be wondering. I've seen maybe one or two of you already comment about the transfer portal and Key. For some of you out there that think that this could be possible, just go ahead, lower your expectations. It's not on the table, according to Lemond, who is close with the family. This is a very good receiver that, of course, Kentucky would love, love, love to have back. Already 126 receptions for 1,800-plus yards, 14 touchdowns. He has been somebody that could stretch the field for Kentucky. He was really solid with his route running, just a really nice all-around receiver that was in that recruiting class with Berrien Brown a few years ago. I remember hopping on here on the show early during my time here with Locked On Kentucky and talking about how excited I was to see both Brown and Key kind of pair up with each other. And it's such a shame to see him go alongside Brown, to see them kind of split away. This was something from Nebraska's On3 website as well. I'll just read it here directly. This was passed on to me this morning from our KSR site. Ryan Lemond is Dane Key's godfather and co-host of the KSR radio show with Matt Jones. He hinted on the radio that Dane Key news is coming. He said it's down to Georgia, Illinois, and Nebraska. Lemond said Illinois remains in the running because the wide receiver coach was the same one at South Carolina when Carolina recruited him. Nebraska's draw is QB play and facilities. Dane's girlfriend evidently attends Georgia. He had 47 receptions for 715 yards, the article notes as well, this past season. And they say that it wasn't necessarily a breakout season that they hoped for. Man, I'm just excited with the consistent production given what Kentucky had around Key and Brown. They had a not-so-good quarterback, just flat out, full stop, and Brock Vandegrift, and they didn't really have a great offensive line on top of all of this, and Kentucky has gone out in the transfer portal, and they've tried to solve both of those problems. First and foremost, we'd had a little bit of a conversation about whether or not Kentucky would want Malik Murphy, the Duke transfer, or Zach Calzada, the Incarnate Word transfer previously at Auburn and Texas A&M, and they ended up getting Calzada. I said I'd prefer Calzada just because of the fact that he's a little bit more mobile, and I've seen him make plays in the SEC before. Calzada, a 3-star quarterback coming out of high school, a 3-star quarterback in the portal, threw for 30-plus touchdowns at Incarnate Word before anybody says anything about, well, oh, this is just mid, this is just terrible, your world, end of the world, which is some of what you guys are doing online, which I get it. Like, on paper, this is not a phenomenal signing. But playing devil's advocate here, the man went and carved up one of the best defenses in the SEC a couple of years ago, stepping in, injured, by the way. On top of this, Cam Ward, Miami's current quarterback, one of the favorites to win the Heisman heading into the season. I believe he finished like 4th or 5th in voting. He started his career at Incarnate Word as well. Sometimes you get diamonds in the rough. Who knows? Calzada, this could be a really solid kind of resurgence here towards the end of his college career. But it's not just him. Kentucky has added also a total of 14 different commitments in their 2025 transfer portal class, and it brings them the number 5 recruiting class in the portal cycle right now. Auburn, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, a couple of different teams above them, but this is really impressive from Stoops and company. They've gone out and gotten some offensive linemen here. They've gotten some pieces on the defense as well. You look and you see the offensive tackle from Bowling Green, Alex Wolschlager, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is a 4-star tackle there. Very, very solid pickup, one of the best in the portal there. Evan Wibberly, who is out of Western Kentucky. You also got different guys at receiver like J.J. Hester from Oklahoma, who's a speedster and was really good a few seasons ago, last season. You have Kendrick Law, a 4-star wide receiver out of Alabama, who's a well-rounded guy, could be the Dane Key replacement in essence if we're looking at it that way. Wallace Unamba, who is another offensive tackle out of New Mexico. You've gotten different guys again on the defense. You've got outside linebacker Sam Green out of USC, Landon Watson out of Marshall, who is extremely productive there, Cameron Olds, who was also very productive as an edge at Kent State. He's a 4-star guy coming out of the portal. You have here across the board some really impressive additions. Dante Dowdle, I haven't even mentioned him yet. He's the starting running back for Nebraska, and you go and look at his highlight tape. 6'2", 225, kid's a beast. This guy could be really special alongside Jamarian Wilcox. You're building the offensive line. You've got 2 new receivers in, major receivers in Hester and Law. You've got a QB in Calzada. Look, you've got a lot of different guys that are not just, they could be good, but they're proven. They're proven, and they're really good pass blockers, I want to note, by the way, for the offensive linemen coming in, at least according to PFF. So you've got a bunch of different guys that you can go out here and get excited about. You absolutely do. So Key, he's not coming back to Kentucky, which is a shame, but I really am excited about the prospects that Kentucky is already starting to bring in. So will next year be kind of maybe a bounce back to what we have seen from Mark Stoops, which is upsetting teams because they don't take UK seriously? Maybe you start to see Kentucky reestablish themselves in the trenches. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to see.